Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. This time I'm at Sardi's with one of my all-time favorite guests, stage, screen, and TV star Jeremy Jordan. We'll chat about some of his favorite roles, his new show at 54 Below called Breaking Character, where the initial run is already sold out and additional dates have been added for November, and his upcoming film, The Last 5 Years, co-starring opposite Anna Kendrick. Please welcome Jeremy Jordan. So hi there, thanks so much for doing this.
My pleasure.
You have had quite a busy summer.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, it's been kind of crazy. It's starting to wind down, but I still got a few more weeks of nuts.
Okay, well, getting into that is your new show. Let's talk about Breaking Character.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already sold out for your initial run at 54 Below with these added dates. I mean, how does that make you feel?
I feel great. It's really nice. You know, you always hope, like in New York, you know, where like everything started, that you know you'll sell well. And the fact is, you know, we started out in San Francisco and LA, then we went to Indianapolis, we did a couple other dates, and by the time the show was running, we were sold. Yeah. But like, it was always like right up to the last minute. But in New York, we sold really, really quickly.
Like in 12 minutes you sold out your initial date. There were like little
guess.
dots, yes, there were little dots of I have a
know.
seat here, a seat there left, that's it.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, take me back to the beginning. How did this show come about for you? Because you're usually more comfortable on stage as a character as opposed to yourself.
Well, yeah, that's the reason it hasn't come sooner.
Okay.
Honestly, because, you know, and I talk about it in a little bit in the show. In the show, I've kind of structured to be a little bit about that. Because, you know, when you don't know what to talk about why you don't know what to talk about. Because, you know, the fact is that I got into acting and all that stuff because I could sort of escape from myself. Not that I, like, hate myself or I have a horrible life or anything. It's just, that's the fun part about it for me, the sort of escapism quality. And I have always been really, really, really shy. Yeah. I'm getting better as I get older. I'm better in situations when I'm like interviewing or I'm, you know, in front of a crowd, but I'm still pretty shy, especially when I'm like working. You know, for instance, I was rehearsing my show when I was in Indy. We were outside we were upstairs in like a rehearsal room. It's a big like ballroom, and people kept walking in and out. And anytime anyone would walk in, I would just clam up. I would just shut down. I just turned my pianist, make them leave, get them out of here, make them go. I don't know, it's just a switch goes off. And so, you know, one of the main reasons doing the show, aside from, you know, giving me something to do in the interim between things, and getting a chance to sort of give back in a different way to, you know, my fans, and was to sort of purge that nervousness, and to sort of reach past that sort of fear of being me on stage and learning how to do that, and I think we're getting there.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the few stops on the road already. What was that like for you? You know, you said you did a few cities. What was the first city like for you getting up there?
Well, we did Feinstein's in San Francisco, which was terrifying.
Okay.
But my whole family was there, so that was really nice. So that kind of made it easier. I stumbled a little bit, and I played the guitar for like 5 songs, which thankfully at 54 Below, I have someone else playing for me. Because I love playing, but I'm okay. Yeah. But like playing and singing is not my forte, and especially I want to focus on the song. And when I'm playing, I'm just like, I'm just completely out of it. So that was hard, and I did some original stuff as well.
Well, let's talk about some of that. Because one of them, was it good enough? What's some of the songs you do in your show?
Yeah. Well, I think we're only gonna do 2 for 54 because of time restrictions, and because since I'm in New York, I'm going to have most likely at least 1 or 2 special guests a night. But it's a surprise.
Surprise! Don't tell anybody.
Surprise guests.
Only BroadwayWorld knows.
Surprise. Well, the shows are sold out. What is it going to do to tell me? Because then I'm about to say like, oh, this person's coming on Wednesday, and like, damn it, I have tickets for Tuesday. And then they get mad.
I have a strange feeling a lot of these people have tickets for additional nights.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So we had to cut one of them, but I'm singing a song called Good Enough, which is a song that sort of came about when I decided I was going to sing my own songs. Now, I was working out my issues on the guitar, and out came this sort of song this started out like a self-deprecating sort of thing, and then it turned into something that I needed to write in order to kind of become okay with it.
Yeah.
And
choosing the songs. I mean,
Yeah.
you have this great career in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
How did you hone down the songs for this act?
well, it's about half and half in terms of like half songs that I'm known for and half other stuff.
Okay.
You know, like original stuff, a couple favorites of mine, just little songs that fit into my act in a special way. And then the other half is, you know, songs from Newsies and Smash and Bonnie and Clyde and other things that people know me from.
Yeah. Talk about your musical director.
Ben Rauhala. He is a great kid. He's a great character. He's a young guy, up and coming musical director who's just incredibly open and eager. And since, you know, I wanted someone young that was really excited about it, because I have to have someone that keeps me excited, because otherwise I'll just like tend to kind of not shut down, but I'll sort of get in my own head, and he gets me out of it. And he's really smart musically, so he's done a lot of arrangements for me. And yeah, and we work well together on stage. We have some fun banter.
Yeah. So far doing the show, like you said, a few stops across the country, how much fun are you having? What are you enjoying the most about doing the intimate spaces?
Well, I think what I enjoy most is what I was most terrified of, which was like telling people about myself.
Yeah.
Because it's allowed me to like slowly be myself, which I'm like a total goofy nerd dude. And so like I've gotten to the point now where I'm just, if a joke doesn't fall, I just make a goofy voice and go on, and just like I've sort of learned how to just like shrug it off and just be whatever, and people tend to laugh at me when I'm being myself. And so I've kind of learned not to like worry if, you know, what I say that I plan to be funny isn't funny. Like I'm just gonna go out there and be myself. And what's really great, and what I've learned, and what I will probably hold on to going forward in the future, and what I wish I would have known previously to this, was that everybody that comes is coming because they already like you.
Oh, of course.
And like there's no negativity. I mean, there might be one or two people who don't know who you are, but it's all love. The people come because they want to love the show, and all you got to do is just be yourself up there, and they're already fans. So it's not like you have to win over, you know. And I thought about, oh, maybe when I come to New York, it's more like, but I don't think so. I mean, it's sold so fast. It's got to be.
It's all fans. It's all
and,
fans and friends of yours.
Yeah. So I as long as I once I realized that, I had a lot more fun.
All afternoon doing every little chore, the thought of you stays bright. Sometimes I stand in the middle of the floor, not going left, not going right. I dim the lights and think about you, spend sleepless nights to think about you. You said you loved me. Oh, were you just being kind? Or am I losing my mind?
Growing up in Corpus Christi, Texas, did you ever think you would have the career you have already?
No, absolutely not. No, I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was in Corpus. I mean, I kind of did the whole musical theater route last minute. You know, until halfway through my junior year, I thought I wanted to be like a computer science major.
Yeah.
And I was really smart in terms of mathematics and academic stuff. So I probably would have been fine and been relatively successful in that. But I went to like a little camp for a bunch of nerds, and I just realized I didn't fit in at all. And I didn't know where I fit in because I didn't really do theater. I did choir, and that's the closest that I ever felt to fitting in. And I just kind of on a whim decided to do theater. And as soon as I got to college at Ithaca, where I went to school, everything clicked. I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I just ran with it.
How do you view your fame and success?
Growing, outwardly and upwardly, and inwardly.
Yeah.
Because I've had a lot of great things happen to me, and I've had some really crappy things happen to me, and it's a big, I mean, it's mountains and valleys for a big time, but but I think once you start to realize what really matters,
Yeah.
which is kind of your own happiness, and I've started to learn not to tie my happiness to success, and I think that has been the sort of key.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning that big time. I mean, over the past few years, success has brought me a lot of happiness, and the lack of has brought me a lot of unhappiness. Whether it's a show being canceled,
Yeah.
or not getting something that you really wanted, or getting screwed over for whatever reason. But you have to find other places to. You have to figure out how to let that go.
Yeah.
So I'm still working on that. But you also have to allow the great moments to affect you even more.
Sure.
Because I think you can become more happy when you achieve success. And I think you have to let that infect you, because otherwise, why are we doing this if not, to make ourselves more happy, especially in this business. But because the happiness is so effective, you have to not let the sadness be as effective.
Yeah. The new film, the buzz on the last 5 years, is terrific.
Yeah, it's really great, and I'm really excited about it, because the first time I saw it, I was really proud of it, and that's not something that I can say easily about a lot of projects I do, especially stuff on film. I'm usually very critical, especially of myself, and there was only a couple moments in the film that I actually went, ooh.
That's good.
Which is good,
Yeah,
which is really good, because most people don't notice the things that I go, oh, at.
Yeah.
And yeah, the musical itself is really great, and we've sort of taken it to a whole new place, because, it's written to be just sung solo on a stage, on a basically empty stage, switching off, you're together, switch off, you're together. And in our film, we put it in the real world, so we're in each other's timelines, and it becomes this sort of mishmash of scenes from a marriage kind of thing, and you just feel like you're being taken all over the place. And the smart people will know it's this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to be cool, is people that don't know it figuring that out.
So how did the movie come about for you?
Well, I auditioned my face off.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was doing Smash at the time, I think, or maybe I just finished it. No, I was still doing it. It was early in 2013, and I heard about Anna Kendrick getting it, and what I didn't know about was that they had, gone through a lot of A-list and B-list actors, film actors, and nobody, they couldn't get anybody that could sing Jamie, so they started looking to us lowly theater folk.
The Broadway types.
Yes, and
which I call the A-types.
Yeah, so I went in and I sang, what did I sing first? Moving Too Fast.
Okay.
And that was like just for Bernie Telsey, and they put me on tape. Then I had a little meeting with the director, and then he worked with me on If I Didn't Believe in You, and that was great. And then I didn't hear anything for like 2.5 weeks. I was like, well, okay, fine. And then I had to do it again because they didn't know if I could be funny. So I had to do Shik's a Goddess over and over and again until I made people laugh. And finally after that, I guess they had a few choices and they picked me. I got the call on Valentine's Day.
What a great day.
Yeah, I was on my way to dinner with my wife at this really lovely restaurant in Hoboken. And I had just parked my car, and she was at the restaurant getting our reservation set. And I picked up the phone as my agent called me and walked over, and she said, "You got it." And what's kind of really great is that next year the movie's coming out on Valentine's Day.
What a great Valentine's Day story, too.
Wow.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Talk about working with Anna.
She is well, she's certainly one of a kind. She's an incredible actress, a really funny, ludicrously witty, on the spot kind of person. She has a lot of depth to her as well, and at first, you know, it was hard to kind of crack her, and I think by the end, once we started really working, granted we only had like 3 weeks together.
That's crazy.
I started working together more and more. I started to understand a little bit of what makes that mind tick, and it's pretty crazy.
And Jason Robert Brown's score.
Georgia was actually the one that was on set the whole time. His wife, Georgia Stitt.
Yeah.
She was our musical supervisor. Jason was working on Bridges over at Williamstown while we were filming it. But he plays the piano in the score. You know, we recorded the score in the studio, and then we sang most of the stuff live.
Great.
Yeah. Well, most of it you have to do live. Yeah. There are a couple songs like the car song, which live audio in a convertible singing is just never going to work.
Yeah.
And then a couple and other points in other songs where we're switching into so many different scenes that, you know, sort of audibly it would just be a jumble.
Yeah.
But especially the more intimate scenes, we did all live. Like for instance, If I Didn't Believe in You is done in one take. For that 7-some-odd minute song, we did 14 takes of it, and we used like the 12th or 13th, and it's just done in one shot. It's all live. So
See, that's your theater background. That's what that means.
Yeah. And Anna stepped up to the plate as well, and you know, a lot of that belty stuff was all live. You know, and you know, you might do a little tweaks or something afterwards, but I don't really know. I told him not to tell me about all that stuff. I just told him you know, I'm just going to pretend that I was perfect every take in terms of singing.
Gotcha.
Other things, well.
Lip syncing, is it hard?
Yes. Lip syncing is the worst. Yeah. It is absolutely the worst, and I suck at it. Which is weird because I sing along. You know, I don't think anybody really lip syncs.
Yeah.
Like, nobody just goes,
Yeah.
like you're singing along. But what's hilarious is, I mean, I did this all through Smash.
Yeah.
And with the movie Joyful Noise, and a tiny bit in the last 5 years, but not a whole lot. But it's really tough to sync up with yourself, especially when you're trying to like focus on acting.
Yeah.
And what I've realized is that I don't open my mouth a lot when I sing. I kind of like sing. That's because I'm a Texas boy. But I just I sing with a very sort of relaxed mouth.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Sure.
A lot of people like.
Yeah.
I don't do that. And so I would always get notes on set like, why aren't you singing? Sing, for real. Can you please sing? I'm like, I'm screaming. What do you want me to do? They're like, make your mouth move more. Oh, okay, because that'll make it more realistic because I'm not actually singing, because I was.
Yeah.
So it's such a pain in my ass. So I'd much rather just do live singing.
I don't need any lifetime commitments. I don't need to get hitched tonight. I don't want you to throw up all your walls and defenses. I don't mean to put on any pressure, but I know when a thing is right. And I spend every day reconfiguring my senses.
The car driving scenes in that.
Oh, God.
Were they crazy? Because you were driving.
Well,
some of them, right?
Well, I mean, I drive all the time. I have a car, but they had this like 60s or 70s old convertible, huge, massive, like just hunk of metal, and it didn't have power steering, which I've never not had that, and it only had one rear view mirror on the side. Well, I had one in the back, but there was a giant camera right behind me, so I couldn't see out that one. There was one on the driver's side that was about this big, and then there was no passenger side rear mirror. Apparently, they weren't required back then, and so all I could see behind me was this much. I couldn't look over my shoulder because camera once again. And it didn't help if I looked over there because that was what I could see in my rear view mirror. So I'm trying to drive down the New York City highway in this giant hunk of convertible with me, a cameraman, the director basically like laying on the floorboard, and Anna Kendrick just holding on for dear life. And we had like the whole follow car. They do the thing where you like have a follow car, you follow somebody, and then somebody follows you, and they kind of sandwich you. Well, it took us a while to figure that out, and I was following the follow car who didn't know where he was going, so last second he pulls off the highway. Well, I don't have the steering capacity of whatever car he had, so I tried to start to pull out, and I get wedged between this median, and then I completely just wrecked the back bumper of this rental old, hot rod. And then a couple weeks later, when we were filming another part on Staten Island, I think, we're driving down the street with the giant camera in the back, and people are clearly distracted. And we're just driving down the street. Suddenly I hear 5-car pileup. And they're just all staring at us.
Listen, you've given us so many memorable performances on stage, screen, and TV in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of them, and just tell me what comes to mind, all right? Okay. Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages, shredding my vocal cords whilst on for Constantine when he was out for a week. I only got through 6 shows, and then my 6th show I had to completely just option all the high notes. It's like, can you take me high enough? Instead of high, I was just taking everything down. At the end, you're supposed to go, hold on. I went, hold on. I completely threw my co-star, and I'm still apologizing to her to this day. Yeah, it was a crazy hard show.
Because you were thrown into that really fast. Constantine, that lives in him, and the point is that rock world or whatever. Yeah. Then you're thrown into a week where you got to just like shred your voice or sing.
Oh yeah, and that's not my voice. Like when I did my audition, I completely shredded my vocal cords, and they thought it was great. And I went home and I was like, okay, I have to do this show now. I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
Okay, West Side Story. I've told you this before. You're one of my all-time favorite Tonys.
Oh, thanks.
I've been going to the theater for a long time. I've seen lots of Tonys.
Yeah, it's a tough role.
It is a tough role. We're going to talk about that because you got to work with Arthur Lawrence. And I know he can be brilliant and temperamental and both of those things at the same time. What was your experience with Arthur like?
It was both. I mean, it was a very short time. When I first met him was in the audition room, and I had auditioned for the original company, and I had made it to final callbacks. And then a year later for the replacement, he's like, "Where were you this original run, the original auditions?" He's like, I wish we could have seen you." I was like, "Well, I was one of like the last 4 people, but okay." But then I sang "Something's Coming," and I tend to like put my own sort of spin on everything, and I guess I did it in a way that he'd never seen, and he was sitting there on the other side of the table just sobbing, and I didn't really know what to do. And, he thanked me and had me, do the other song. And so I felt like I'd really affected him early on. And we started working together. And it was really positive. And then, he would come, every couple weeks or once a month to give notes to the whole cast after the show. And, it's pretty well known that he would generally pick one person and kind of rip them apart. And while just lauding other people or completely ignoring others. And the second or third time that he saw me, I was the victim. And it just kind of just broke me apart. My last time that I performed for him, it was like my last week in the show before I left to do Bonnie and Clyde in Florida. I was just... I knew it was going to be the last time he saw me, so I was just I was giving 200%. I was just trying to put everything I had into that performance, and it was really for him. And afterwards, he's like, "Where'd you go?" He's like, "Are you already in Florida doing your other show? Because you weren't in this show. You were checked out." I was like, and I just stood up and I was like, I think this is ridiculous. I said, I was giving what I felt was like my best possible performance. I was doing everything that I could possibly do. I was really just, I was anything but checked out. I was tuned in, and I think that just because I'm leaving your show doesn't mean that, it gives you this, and, and I started kind of going on a tangent at that point about, giving notes without actually telling people how to fix them. And, you know, he stopped me and he was like, oh, you know, you're just trying to assert your manhood over me or something. And I was like, okay, sure. But I think it was the first time anybody in that cast ever stood up to him. And afterwards, when people were cycling out, I apologized to him a little bit, and I tried to set the piece. It was a little bit rocky, but you know, it was the last time I saw him.
Newsies.
Newsies.
That changed your life, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Newsies definitely changed my life. You know, it was my sort of introduction to the New York theater scene when I did it in Paper Mill. That was before Bonnie and Clyde came to the city, and you know, it was a definitive role for me. I think it was the first time that I got to create something. Really, especially something based on previous material that I was so in love with. You know, they got the Tony nomination, which was really great. I got Smash because of it. Yeah. And I wouldn't have been able to do Last 5 Years without having the experience of Smash. You know, I barely made the cut for that one. So it's like everything kind of started with Newsies, I think. So I'm really thankful for that. And I never actually had to audition for it, really. Well, that's a lie. I had to go in and do a scene in a song for the very first reading of it, like in 2010 or something.
Who was there? Was it Alan?
It was no, was it? No, Alan was there? Alan might have been there.
Okay.
And like Justin Huff from Telsey and
Okay.
Bernie Telsey. And it was just for like a dumb little reading. They used all Disney people, but they wanted to audition for the lead role and like maybe one other role. And I got in there, and then luckily Jeff Calhoun signed on, who did Bonnie and Clyde, and then I got the offer for Broadway, and and it was also a show that impacted a lot of people as well. And it was a great story, you know, how we started off at Paper Mill, and
yeah, nobody knew.
Somehow made it to Broadway, and then ran for 3 years or however long it ran. And so yeah, I mean, it was to be a part of that sort of journey, and to kind of, for the first time in my life, be thrust into a position of leadership. That was really sort of eye-opening for me.
There's change coming once and for all. You makes the front page, and menu is major news. Tomorrow they'll see what we are, and sure as a star, we ain't come this far too. There's change coming once and for all. You're getting too old till once and for all you're gone. Once and for all. Once and for all. Once and for all.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Bittersweet.
I loved that show.
I know, so many people
Right?
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just wish more people could have seen it, because I think if timing is all as
Sure.
well. It's just one of those
You never
unfortunate
know.
accidents,
Yeah.
and it's become like a cult hit now. I mean, it's been Frank was like, it's become like my most licensed
Sure.
show. I mean, and he's written like Jekyll and Hyde, and people are doing it all over the country now. And you know, on Twitter and on Instagram, you know, people always tag you in things, and I'd say 30 to 40% are Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
People love it. They love it, especially kids.
Yeah.
I don't know why, they love it. And glad we got to make at least an album.
I had Laura Osnes in your chair, and she had the best. Well, she's not in there now, but she was in your chair.
I thought I smelled something.
That beautiful perfume
Oh,
she
well,
wears.
I'm sure.
She had the best time working with you.
Yeah.
What was it like working with her and creating these roles together? I love her.
I love working with
Yeah.
Laura. You know, and we've always, and you know, there's talk about, you know, doing Bonnie and Clyde like in London or something like that. And I was like, I'm only going to do it if Laura does it. I think she would feel the same way. I I think we bonded instantly. And when you're on stage with someone that you just, you know, you have to yell at and love and make out with, you have to have trust and you have to have friendship. And I don't know how those people, you know, you hear all those stories about people that actually secretly hate each other.
Yes.
It's like, God,
How they do
I don't
it.
know how that's possible.
I start dreaming about my Bonnie just as soon as I'm asleep. They're the kind of dreams that keep you in your bed. I am making love to Bonnie, and that sure beats counting sheep. Got a feeling there are good times up ahead.
Smash.
Yes.
Everybody wanted to be on that show.
Did they?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I definitely wanted to be on Smash. It was a little hard at first because I was the new kid and I was making friends. Then soon, Andy Mantis and Chris Rodriguez and I became like inseparable, and we're still all really close. And then Kat McPhee finally kind of gave in to our, you know, awesomeness, and
I love it.
and so we ended up having a really great time on set. You know, despite all the backstage stuff that was going on with the production and with the you know, clash on what story we're going to tell and characters, and well, I wasn't really involved in any of that, so I just did what I was told. And at the beginning, I had a little bit of a hard time because I didn't give myself any sort of leeway. You know, you get these lines and they may be written in a way that you don't feel really comfortable saying, but I would say them exactly as written at first. And then as I started seeing other more seasoned actors work, I would learn how to make them my own. And then eventually towards the end, I would learn how to have questions and ask and say, maybe we can do this, or maybe we can tweak this. I mean, it's so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, the writers are constantly rewriting it second by second. So you find out a lot of times that they you know, welcome any sort of input or anything, and it's really just everybody trying to work together to make the show as good as possible in a very, very short amount of time. And I'm still astonished that there are so many people out there that watch Smash. And what's really funny to me, like, I was doing Finding Neverland, so I met a lot of people at the stage door, and so many people would say, well, I like Smash.
Yeah.
You know, well, I really like Smash, so I don't, you know, like, but like sort of inferring like, oh, nobody else did, you know? Oh, like sort of being like, well, I really liked it, so like whatever everybody else thinks, you know,
Yeah.
it's they kind of knew that it was sinking.
You know, you just mentioned the fans of a stage door up there at ART. That was another character you got to create, another role you got to create from scratch.
Yeah.
What was your time up at ART like with Diane Paulus and just working on that musical?
Oh man, I love doing that show.
Yeah.
It was, you know, creating another real life person, sort of like Clyde, but that there's no real reference for except for some pictures and the literary works that he's left behind, and you know, some letters. So getting to sort of create someone from scratch with like a little bit of background to work with was really exciting, especially with Diane. And the best part about it for me was Diane is like a true collaborator. I mean, in every sense of the word. She really gives you the reins at any moment that you ask for them. So, you know, we'd be working on a scene and I'd be like, well, how about this? Like, how about some crazy, weird idea, and then we'll try it. And then it makes it into the show. You know, there's so many, like, we do a lot of magical, tricky things in the show, and, like, a lot of them were my ideas. And so she really allowed me to put my stamp on the character and on the show, and really, you know, made me feel like I, you know, owned a part of it, and that I really helped create something that I think was really moving and really special, magical in the show.
Well,
so I loved it. I love working with her too.
In a place so far away. We'll be young, that's how we'll stay. Every wish is a command. We will find ourselves in heaven, Neverland. Every wish is a command. I am closer now to finding Neverland.
You just celebrated your second wedding anniversary, right?
I did in September. Actually, you will see her in my show.
Yes.
Yeah, she's one of my guests, and she'll be a guest every night. Unless some movie takes her away. No, she'll be a guest every night, and along with the surprise guests.
What's it like performing together, you and your wife, Ashley?
I think it's really good.
Yeah.
I think it's really good for both of us, because it gives us a chance to connect on that sort of level, a professional level, which we've never really done. We've worked on tiny little things together, but at the same time, as much as I'm terrified of being myself on stage, she's just as, if not worse.
Really?
So it's like it's a great chance for her to sort of step out of her comfort zone and try to grow in that way as well. So it's really great.
Well, we are so there. I thank you so much for
Thanks,
stopping
man.
by and sitting
My
in my
pleasure.
chair all
Absolutely.
over again.
Is this your chair? I thought it was Laura's chair.
It's Laura's chair.
Okay.
Now it's your chair.
I own it for a very short time.